Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to my video number 15 for mth3500. Yeah. All right. Now we continue on errors. I think I have talked on syntax error. Basically, we have four main error. Yeah, syntax error, runtime error. What else? Logic error. So in the last video I talked on syntax error, and now in this video I'll talk on runtime error and as well as logic error. So basically, runtime error occurs when the program is executed, which is when you run the program. Okay, when we run the program and the program suddenly aborted due to certain faulty that not traceable by the compiler when you compile. So this kind of error is difficult to find, but still we can still find it, but it takes a little bit longer time, especially if when you develop a long program, then this kind of error become very difficult. So this is a couple of types of runtime errors. Sometimes divide by zero. Normally in this case, x over y we don't assign y 0 at the beginning of the programming, but due to certain expression, the data that we put in and do some calculation, then that give you y equal to 0. And in this case, we don't even realize that y is equal to 0. It's difficult to find. Yeah, and suddenly just your program suddenly just aborted, and you need to find the error. And next is data format error. Data format error is normally when we deal with array, or other example like we define as a character but we give the value of constant, of integer or floats. So sometimes that give error. And you give the for example, you define as an integer but you give the value as a float, right? And vice versa. And then this read pass time, pass the end of file, read pass end of file, this occur when deal with file. This is I will deal with this, we will deal with this in the later of our course. Yeah. Where we basically, what you do now is that you read from the screen, we print on the screen, but we can also read from the file and also can print to the file. So in that case, but that a bit later. Okay, and then array subscript, out of range. Here in this case also we will deal with subscript a bit after this chapter. Okay, and another one is illegal memory access. Normally in this case we end up with a segmentation fault. It's happened like the memory that used is too huge, yeah, too big, that your computer cannot cope with that. It's happened. You can imagine, for example, we divide by something very small number. We don't realize this thing, but it's happened. Very small number divide by something very small number, that give you huge number. Okay, that's also give you error. So in this case again, all this type of errors is not easy to find. Yeah, and give you some of the example. This is a short program. In this case, this is obvious. Probably in this case, your compiler might trace when we compile your program. So maybe at that time. So but in that case, easy to detect. Yeah, easy to detect because we assign already y equal to 0, so we know what happened. But in the case of y in terms of expression, all right, and then you give in the data, or the data is processed from somewhere else, that possible happen, then it's difficult to find. We don't even realize y is 0. This is difficult. And another example is here. In this case, on the array, basically this is the way we define array. I will talk this after this chapter. And basically array, we begin from 0, 1, 2. In this case we have 5, allocate 5 value to it, right, from zeros. So some 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But in this case I begin from 1 up to 5. Okay, so in this case you have sum 5, whereas we don't have sum 5. I will talk about that later. Okay, so that's the example of the runtime error. Now I'll go on the logic errors. Before that, you might not really get what I mean by array and everything, but you don't have to worry about that, because as I said, we will focus on that in the next chapter. Okay, logic errors. Now this is another problem, logic errors where let's say you are given a problem, all right, but the program that we develop, the logic to solve that problem is not correct. So in this case, when you compile your program, normally compiler won't give any error. Okay, compiler won't give any error. Instead, the result that you got might be wrong. I would say definitely wrong. If the logic is not if the logic is not true, then definitely the result is wrong. But the compiler won't detect this. As I said in my previous video, that C cannot think. So what C do is exactly what we ask them to do, what we ask C to do. So if you ask C to do it wrongly, then it will give you the wrong result as well. Okay. Now, this is some of the possible example of logic errors. So infinite loop, dangling S, where we don't know this else for which if. Okay. And then incorrect shortcut operators, forgetting ampersand like this. But I think in this case the compiler will detect while during during compilation. Okay. Forgetting to put the break in the switch statement, this is also a problem. Using wrong format in printf and scanf, I think wrong format does give you the syntax error. It's not logic error, this gives you syntax error. Improper numeric conversion as well, incorrect block code, empty statement. So this is example of infinite loop. Okay, if you run this program, so what happened, you can see here j begin from the initial value of j is 1, and while j less than 500. So what happened here is that sum equal to sum plus j, where the value of j is not increased. So it means it stay with the value of j is 1 for whatever, how many loop you count. So this j here is always 1, so it always less than 500. So in that case, the computer or your program will always keep on running and keep on running, so it won't stop. Yeah, it won't stop. So it won't give the correct result. Okay. This is another example. Okay, dangling s else. What is dangling s? So if x greater than 0, if x greater than maximum, then maximum equal to x, else maximum equal to x, minimum equal to x. So in this case, this else belong to which if? Okay, if you familiar with C, I think you're familiar already now. So basically this else belong to the nearest if, so which is belong to that. All right, but the way you arrange this is look like this else belong to that if. All right, so when you compile, when you read this program, or when you develop this kind of program, then it might give a different result as what we expect should be. Okay. This is another error. What is error here? Sum, okay, sum plus I. So for I equal to 1, I less than 50, I plus plus. So can you find what error here? Off by one error. What does it mean? Off by one error. So look at the question. The question is, you want to find the sum of first 50 integers. Okay, we want to find the sum of first 50 integers. So in this case, basically what we do is we just sum up to 49 only, not 50, because here in this case I less than, strictly less than 50. So if you want to make it 50 integers, so we need I less than or equal to 50, then that will give you the exact result. So this is a logic that we think of. You know, logically, this kind of problem won't give you the exact the correct calculation. You can see. So basically what we do here is just 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up to plus 49, not 50. Okay, so yeah, this is should be the correct one for sum up to first 50 integers. So the condition here is I less than or equal to 50. So this is the correct one. And incorrect block here. Yeah, incorrect block of code. So if y equal to 0, printf, you have all these things. So if you can see here, it's contain more than one statement. So if you want to put this two statement here under one if, then you need to put curly bracket there, open curly bracket there, close curly bracket, then your program will be correct. So okay, so this is some explanation for that. If check if y equal to 0, yeah, if this is true, it will print error. Okay, then exit. If y is not equal to 0, it exit anyway. Why? Because if y is not equal to 0, which means this statement C will not do this statement. Instead, it jump to the break. If y equal to 0, it will do this. Then next statement is break. Then is break. Break means out of it. It goes out of the if. If block. So this is the correct one, as I mentioned earlier. So we need to put that curly bracket. Then your program should be correct now. Forget to put break in the switch statement. This is also the case where if integer x equal to 2y, so switch x, case x equal to 2, y blah blah here, then you need to put break here, and as well case 3, then you need to put break, and so on and so forth. Okay? So this is the correct statement. Yeah, switch case y equal to that, then break, case 3 equal to that, then break. So this is for switch. Yeah. Here is another error. We call it as a linker's error. What is linker error? Is the program that link object file which contain the compiled machine code from a single source file, yeah, and libraries, which are files that are collection of object file, okay, together to create an executable program. So in this case, basically what we did is that we tried to link with the already built-in subroutine or function in C, but we call it in a different way. Now we call it in a different way. For example, if you want to call the square root, the function is already created in C. What you need to do when you want to use square root, just write the square root and everything there. Okay. So, but there might be a case where when you call that function, when you call the function at square root, the way you call it is wrong. Okay, the way we call it is wrong. So that will give you linker error. So this is we call it linker error. Link is we link to the other function or subroutine or function. This is misspelling. Normally when it make misspelling like this, this is it will give you during the compilation process. Correct libraries or object file were not linked. You know, we call it correctly, but we not linked. So to link, probably, so we need like at the beginning include something, but we don't put that include. Okay, so this part here is for in the Unix system. In our case, we don't use Unix. So debugging by adding print statement. So how to find, basically in the long program especially, how to find the errors if there exists, but we don't know what the error is, where the error is. Okay, I can give you, based on my experience, I can give you some hints how to find the error. Okay, let me put it this way. So let's say this is your program. This is your program, everything there. Okay, and then during the during the executing process, sometimes suddenly your program aborts, just stop like that without giving any result, and so forever, or probably give a part of the result but others are not. So in this case, the error might contain somewhere in your program. So how to trace them? So in my case, for example, what I used to do is that I put print somewhere here. Print just a simple thing like print T1, just like, okay, printf. And then after a few statements here, then I put another printf. Let's say I put T2. Okay, so when you run the program, normally this print T1, it come up into the your screen. Okay, because this print on your screen. So it print on your screen, but T2 is not come out. Okay, T2 is not come out. So which means the errors come from here, somewhere here. Okay, so that's the way so what we need to do, just focus on on that part. So we know the errors come from there. So just focus on that part. So this is the one way to find the error. I would say the easiest way to find the error. Easiest, but doesn't mean easy to find. It's still difficult. Okay. So here that what was written in your notes. Before bugs are removed, they must be discovered. That's correct. So test a program that you have to develop. Start with small problem, and then test the program with a trivial problem. Do not make any invalid assumption. So all this is all these are correct. Normally, if you deal with a big data, a lot of data, before you go to the real data, you might contain 100 or maybe 1,000 data. So maybe you can try just with 1 or 2 or 3 data first, where you can run by your hand manually. Check whether it's correct or not. Okay, by doing this, normally that will give you a good result. The cause of the problem, a bug can only be caused by the code in the program that has already executed. Okay, do not waste time. So in this case, when we write a program, do not worry about errors. Okay, normally this is what happens, and syntax error is common. Syntax error is, even you are expert, still syntax error is common, because sometimes we forget the semicolon, forget the bracket, and so on and so forth. But anyway, just compile the program and then look for the error letter. You don't have to, when you write a program, then try to busy yourself to find the error and so on. So you don't have to worry about it. Just run the program and see the error letter. Find the if the result is not correct, then you can find it. Try to find the error. Okay, so in your notes here, there are a couple of exercises for you to do. So I don't want to discuss this in detail. All right, so you just try for yourself. If you have any problem, yes, of course, you can always ask me by WhatsApp or whatever it is, and if necessary, we can go to the using Google Meet, and we can develop the program together. Okay, so I think that's all for this lecture. Just a couple of another exercises here. Okay, so this is the next chapter is on array. That's I will talk later. For this class, for this video, I think I stop here. I conclude this video with what I have taught you is how to a type of errors, and how to detect the error. That's the most important thing, how to find the error. All right, so that's it for now. Thank you.